my lovelies, and today we're going to use some medical related stories. Some of them have updates, some of them do not. And our first story today will be with the title Someone Pooped on the Floor in the Women's Locker Room. I saw the title and I knew I had to read it here. Okay, so some trigger warnings, there are some description of body fluids, and also mentions of infidelity, and it's mostly a confusing story. I don't think it's anything far too triggering. So let's start. I work in a hospital in a department where we have to change into hospital laundry scrubs when we log in. So we have a locker room that fits all 73 of us. The women's employee restroom can be accessed through the locker room, which is page access only. Yesterday, when the 11th shift came in, they found a pile of, presumably, human turds in front of the door between the locker room and the restroom. Charitably, we can't suppose that someone had the rumbly in the tumbly and failed to reach the restroom before the countdown hit zero. The alternative explanation is that one of my colleagues is a stone cold psychopath. The crime remains officially unsolved, but privately, I can think of a couple of suspects based on personality and or their diet. No human can eat a sausage muffin every single day and maintain total control of their bowels. That is the entire story. Okay, the story is confusing on the part that it's a mystery who did it and why they did it, but it's mostly funny, especially with the way that the OP describes it, because I think they have their suspect because they have a vendetta against someone who eats a sausage McMuffin every single day. Okay, some of the comments. Commenter. This is our professionals original poster, possibly. Nurses, technologists, surgeons, residents, and housekeepers all have access. Couldn't be anyone. I can only be sure it wasn't me. Another commenter. I want to think one of your coworkers is the stone cold psycho, but I guess we'll have to wait for the case of fractured rectum to play out. OP. After eliminating everyone not on shift at the time, we currently have two prime suspects. One is a department drama bomb who's currently enraged about not being approved for a requested shift change. The other is a surgical assistant who consumes McDonald's in a quantities that I would have thought impossible had I not witnessed her meals myself. Like a city held hostage by serial killer, we were waiting for another incident to get us more evidence. Okay, this is well not funny for them, but reading about this is really funny. There is an update. Update: locker room pooper identified. Oh my gosh. Gonna add more updates at the bottom of this text rather than making newsreels all day. Stay tuned for developments. A couple of days ago, I posted that someone shit on the floor in the women's locker room at my hospital and then vanished without the slightest effort at cleanup. At the time, there were no witnesses and no clues to to the pooper's identity. Investigators, me and my colleagues, were stymied. Until yesterday afternoon, that is, when the pooper committed another brazen attack. I work in surgery, and when a procedure is finished, the surgical technologist puts her instrument into a car and sends them down an elevator to the decontamination room. We have a number of travel techs working with us right now, and yesterday around shift change time, as one of them was within her car towards the elevator, one of my colleagues saw her pause, stick her leg out a little, shake several poop nuggets out of her pant leg and onto the floor. She then rode her cart into the lever and onto the elevator, pressed the button, and walked away like nothing happened. I'm sorry, what? On the just on the run? Oh my gosh. Who does that? I'm not working right now, but my phone is blowing up with texts from colleges. Apparently, management has been notified, but the pooper doesn't yet know that she's been caught. We'll update further as the situation develops. Oh my god. What is this? Who does it? I think this is Stone Cold Psycho. There's no other explanation to this. Mini update: the pooper is scheduled for an 11 shift today. Our manager just thought the charge knows that she, the pooper, has a meeting first thing when she gets in and not to send her on her lunch breaks. I'm going at 13, which will update when I know more. Updates, thanks for your patience, everyone. After I clock in, I expected to do at least some actual work before taking a break, so this is my free moment to post. According to sources, our manager intercepted the pooper before she made it into the department and whisked her away to the office for her meeting. What exactly happened there is currently unclear, but at the end of it, the pooper was taken to the locker room where she cleaned out her locker and was escorted out to the parking garage by security staff. Note that this does not mean that the meeting was heated or violent. The security walkout for terminated employees have been started at my hospital for years. Following an incident in which two main employees got into a fist fight because they were both sleeping with the same dump truck of a nurse. Oh my god, so much drama. Anyway, management is currently tight-lipped about the situation and will only say that the pooper has resigned and will not be returning. My charge now says that he heard the manager on the phone with security requesting the badge logs from the women's locker room. I guess they must have information about who has badge in at certain times. Perhaps they were able to place her at the scene of the crime. As far as how the pooping was carried out, then investigator, meaning my work bestie, her working theory, it's remotely possible that she pooped while actually in surgery and held the poops in her cheeks while reverse hamster until she couldn't reach her target. The OR is full of strong smell, and between that and multiple rounds of COVID, many of us are basically blind. It's possible. However, we have come to believe that she has trained herself to poop on the move like a horse on parrot, because this explanation fits all the known facts. She is a very thin woman who routinely wears her pants a size too large. We think that is deliberate in order to facilitate stealthy shitting. As far as why, we'll probably never know. You'd think that if she had a medical problem, she would have mentioned it at her meeting and management would have worked with her. Was it a move, a kink? No idea. We'll update again if I learn anything else. But that's what I have right now. Mini side story. I know people have asked about the dump truck of Norse, and I'm gonna add this short version of the story here. Copy paste it and edit it from a comment I wrote yesterday. This was many years ago, and I was relatively new hire, so I wasn't included in a lot of drama and gossip. Besides, best I can recall, the nurse, a pyramid-shaped woman in her early 60s, was sleeping with both a scrub tech and a surgical assistant, both married. They found out about each other, and the assistant how the scrub slashing his tires in the parking lot. Oh my god. A fight ensued, which got broken by security. The dudes got separated, fired, and sent one at a time to get their stuff and leave the campus. I can't remember which one left first, but he apparently came back and lay in wait for the second guy in order to continue the fight. The security broke it up again, after which police were called, wires found out, and there was a lot of commotion. The nurse decided she didn't need this kind of drama, and then both guys then eventually quit and moved out of state. And I heard was a legal for outlook. Oh my god. I mean, cheers to the nurse that had both guys, but oh my god. I imagine was actually I can imagine what the wife's reaction was because imagine that both those guys were going after a woman and they were both married and they were fighting for completely another women that were not their wives. Oh my god. Revealing comments. I had it happen at my last employer. It happened 3 times before reporting the security camera at the bathroom and so it identified who it was. It miraculously stopped after that. During all this, our HR director told us it's actually more common than you think, and she had dealt with it with several prior employees. I thought that it totally crazy considering the harbor crime was professional service companies. Comment 2. I have a family member that works for a huge tech company and they had an issue with the senior staff members smearing poop on the walls in the bathroom. Comment 3. What the fuck? Yes, what the fuck? comment before. The only proper response. Yes, it's the only proper response. And the last comment, the idea of a lady just shitting like a horse's bird has to be the funniest thing I've ever read. Oh my god. Um, some of the comments to this post is also updates. Rose hamster is killing me. Yeah, it's, oh my gosh. Um, and in other comment, I have questions, I have answers. They do not match at all. Oh my god, totally. This is a bit of a roller coaster, confusing because why, how, I don't know how to reply to this. Oh my god. Okay, on to the next story. Our next story will be titled Today I Fucked Up by Trusting My Doctor and Their AI Assistant. My guy or my girl, I think you fucked up the moment you heard AI assistant and decided to stay. But anyway, so day before yesterday, I got an allergic reaction and went to visit the doctor checkup. They have updated to an AI assistant called Free to write notes for them, so my doctor just talked to me, and the assistant heard me and wrote my symptoms and my medicine. The doctor gave me my form with medicines written on it without double checking what the assistant had written down. I went out to the store, I got some, and applied the lotion and ate the medicine accordingly and slept off. Woke up after an hour and my allergy had literally worsened. I immediately called the doctor back and paid them a visit to get checked again. I was furious already and then they admitted their mistake. Apparently their assistant Mr. Fritz misdiagnosed me, wrote wrong symptoms and decided I had atopic dermatitis and prescribed wrong medication for and lotions. They wanted to do a checkup again and give me correct medicines after that, and that too they wanted me to pay for it again, but I refused and went to another dog. It's seriously becoming a scary world out there with AI literally everywhere. So out there, the doctor trusted their AI assistant and it worsened my allergy and as it misdiagnosed me. Um, yeah, I think it's a bit in the wrong to trust someone who uses an AI for a medical checkup. You can consult with AI. I think you can uh, ask its opinion, but its opinion would not always be right. Um, I usually use AI to, ask it like find me the books that mention this or find me a series that mentions this. But I rarely go for it to like for genuine information. It's kind of scary, honestly, how much people rely on it. Some comments. Please leave a Google review with this info. This is awful and will likely not be the last time this happens. We need to try to avoid things like this becoming the norm when it directly impacts our health. Yeah, it's literally malpractice. It's negligence, it's everything. This is muscle lawsuit waiting to happen. A doctor blindly signed off on an AI's diagnosis without reviewing it. That's a negligence and not an AI problem. Report them to the medical board and find a human doctor who actually does their job. Someone replied to this, Fred does not diagnose or prescribe. The doctor is lying to cover his ass. Someone else replies that they think that yes, they agree with this, and someone reply orthop is line to generate outrage and clicks. Hard to say. I don't think it's hard to say. If they were trying to like gather some outrage, they would also have mentioned the hospital they went to. Actually, maybe they didn't because they didn't want for anyone to check it. I don't know. This the last comment actually made me question a lot. Um, Anyway, guys, don't trust AI with your health. There are some really, really top-notch technologies that detect like cancer or something like this. I think I heard about it. But trusting it with any minor issue, no. You can like use it like Google search, but not everything on Google will help you. Remember, self-diagnosis is bad for your health. And our next story is titled Am I the asshole for not compromising on where we go to lunch because of my food allergy? The post was written in April 2022 and shares the story. A while ago, I was awarded for my work. It's not valuable, but just a my certificate, but this was voted on by my peers, and I'm a bit chuffed. That weekend, I turned 40. On the Monday, my manager, Janine, and her boss, Kara, said that they wanted us to celebrate these events as a team and asked where I would like to go for lunch. I was conflicted because there's been a history of disputes around my food allergy. In short, they, in quotes, always to go to a nearby Chinese restaurant, but I am allergic to soy, which features in Chinese food. Kara has involved HR to find a solution, but so far they have been useful as a chocolate teapot. In meetings, though, they have insisted they want to include me, and this was the first time they had asked for my suggestions. So in the end, I suggested a new Indian restaurant my partner and I had been to. I told Janine, I knew Indian wasn't everyone's fave, so if there were any problem, I suggest something else. Janine said there's nothing wrong with Indian. Oh, yum yum yum. 2 days later, Kara mailed that we were having lunch to celebrate my award and my big 4-0 at the Indian restaurant. Unfortunately, I was talking to Janine at the time Kara's mail arrived. Janine did have some issues with Indian food, which she alerted me by screaming them in my face and having a meltdown. Oh, wow. Okay. I calmed Janine down, then went back to my desk and broke down myself. Carlin, manager of the next team, came over and consoled me. I was shaking so badly. Carlin filled in the incident report for me, then emailed Janine and Carl to say I was leaving work and drove me to my GP. GP gave me a week off work. Now I'm back at work and it's bad. Kara postponed lunch until I was better and expected it to still go ahead as planned. Janine wanted to move to the Chinese restaurants they always go to. And HR is backing Janine because she is not coping with change. Oh my gosh, such a bitch. And I should accommodate her. I should back with accommodation. Janine could kill me in this process. I just want the whole thing to drop because I'm fed up. Whoever wants to be the peacemaker and has suggested I meet them halfway. I don't know where the halfway is, and I can't be bothered finding it. Kara, Janine, and HR all say I am TA for not being prepared to compromise on where we go out for lunch. TA is the asshole. I need fresh perspectives on this. Am I the asshole? By the way, the two restaurants are literally across the road from each other. Quick update. Wow, I woke up about 600 new comments. I'll try to get as many comments as I can. But a note for all the people calling me Snowflake or similar because I took a week off work, had PTSD from a traffic accident and road rage incident. I was a passenger and was still trapped in the car when the auto driver attacked my side and screamed abusing me. Having Janine screaming in my face brought back those intrusive memories of the accident. It is not weak or being a snowflake to have psychological injury. It is not weak to get qualified help when you need. Small date, meeting Friday morning with myself, Kara HR, and the union dialing in. Senior HR person also dialing to observe. Update too on the Saturday. We saw her transfers this afternoon and accepted it. New boss wants me to start on Monday, but he has to negotiate with that with Janine. Friday's meeting is cancelled, but the senior HR person would like an hour of my time on Monday to discuss any feedback I have about my recent experience of HR. Okay, root of everyone here except for our OP because yes, they propose a new Indian restaurant and Janine doesn't like it. So what? Okay, OPs say to Karen that they propose Indian restaurant, but if it's not everyone's favorite and they understand if they need to suggest something else, and Karen then sent an email to everyone that they were going to Indian restaurant, and Janine just exploded in the face of OP. um, I think there's a lot of miscommunication here going on, and it's totally unfair for Janine to attack OP like that. It's small outing. Come on, like, she's not being she's not being accommodated. I'm sorry. Do you have an allergy? Are you in danger if you go to another restaurant? No, I do not think so. Anyway, there's updates 6 days later. I have a new job. I started in my new job today, but the rest of the team are in another building, and I probably won't physically join them until next week. I don't want to post a proper update before now in case there were last minute hiccups. My new boss had to negotiate my start with Janine. Saturday afternoon, I was offered and transfer and accepted it. This is part of the expected changes I mentioned. I knew there was a review underway and there might be some opportunities for me. I just wasn't expecting anything so soon. My new teammates are mostly the people I work with on my award winner. Janine and Sarthi. I don't want you to go. Janine and Franny. When I'm moving, I have two new people starting money and need your decks. Wow, Janine. Sure you move fast. My new word to describe Janine, mercurial. I think it's a good one. Kara in January said I'm leaving, wished me all the best and offered her help to make the move go smoothly. Everyone else in the team seems to be pretending the whole thing never happened. Not one word had been said about the lunch, my leave, the transfer, nothing. Friday morning meeting was cancelled, but the senior HR guy asked for an hour of my time this morning to give feedback about my recent experiences with HR. I shared my concerns about some of the advice HR was giving. Part of our conversation involved a lot of read between the lines, but I'm fairly sure Janine's been spoken to. This is how it ends, not with a big bang, but a whimper. Thanks, T.S. Eliot. I think people have asked, nicely and not so nicely, how I could possibly feel I was at fault here. I thought I might have been the asshole because I was out of step with how things were done in the team. But a lot of very kind people took time out of their day to share their professional knowledge and explain to me in so many ways how badly the team culture was out of step with normal. Compared to a few days ago, I feel like I understand so much more. Like this wasn't really about restaurant, it was really about wanting a fair division of the emotional labor in the team. Thank you all for helping me see the bigger picture. I can see I'd become the soldier of the frazzled nervous solver of problems and finder of solutions. Janine once said she liked me because I made bad things go away. At the time I thought she just meant work, but now I wonder if she depended on me for more than I knew. Looking forward, my partner has decided a nice Indian meal is in our near future, but we'll be even more audacious and planning to take some leave later in the year and have an actual holiday together, travel restrictions willing. Finally, thank you all the Redditors who share their own knowledge and experiences of trauma and bad workplaces. It's an awful club to belong to, but we have the best members. Whew, this wasn't a roller coaster, but it's sad that she was treated that way by Janine, who seemed like her for solving a lot of problems. I think it's been like the type of person can kick and they will just move out of their way. But it's sad for Zolpi because she was just not considered a person at her work, I think. Some of the comments, if HR takes the side of a person who screams in a coworker's face, if HR takes the side of a person trying to make the coworker compromise dietary restrictions, to borrow an expression from Ask a Manager, that whole place sounds full of bees. This is why I try to get HR by chain antics in writing so you can sue their stupid asses. Um, okay, as someone replied, I'm in HR and the idea that any leader would want to go against food allergen is just so fucking insane. Like the entire point of HR is eliminate the legal liability and full allergies can be a huge disaster for a company. Yeah, someone might get like die. They can legitimately die on your workplace and you'll be the one responsible for that. Another comment. Wow, this was sad. I have an allergy. While not exaggerating, the amount of times people have tried to get me to eat contaminated food and then blaming me for not telling them is more than I wish. We should not accommodate others by living. We should accommodate like human beings. Fuck Janine. Yeah, fuck Janine. Um, yeah, this story wasn't exactly a roller coaster, but yeah, no. Okay, the last comment. Carl wants to be the peacemaker and has suggested I meet him in hallway. I don't know where hallway is. Easy. The OP goes for Chinese encouraging food to bill for the wrong food he'll sued on behalf of OP's loved ones. Wow, that was a bit dark, but appropriate, I think. Our next story is titled My Wife May Never Walk Again. The original post was written on September 23rd, 2025. My pregnant wife works in the medical field. got a call a couple of days ago and said she hurt herself and her arms were hurting and starting to become numb. She said she talked to her doctor and was waiting for them to call back. I told her let me know if I needed to come get her or not. An hour later, she says they told her it probably knows him, but she wanted to go home. I go to pick her up, and when I get there, she's in chairs and can move her arms and can feel move her fingers. As I walk outside, I told her we are going to ER. We get to ER, and between work and ER, she can no longer feel her legs as an uncontrollably spasming every 3-5 seconds. They call a metal alert or something like that, crew, and they lift her out of the car and onto a stretcher. We go inside and they check her out and do ultrasound and say the baby's fine, strong heartbeat. Couple of hours later, they get her into a MRI and check out her spine, CNT. The results come back with clear with no visible signs of damage. We have been here for 66 hours and they are clueless. Neurologists take that word as to what is going on. She can feel or move anything below her chest. She can move her arms up to her wrists but can't move her fingers. No twitch, no squeeze, no, or anything. The doctor is saying she doesn't think it will be lasting, but she can't guarantee anything. At this time, I'm terrified and beyond scared that she may not walk again or have any use of extremities. I'm trying to stay calm and strong for her, but when she sleeps, I find myself, more often than not, in tears. I walked downstairs and broke down and talking to a stranger, and he stopped me and gave me a hug, and I couldn't help but cling to him, probably longer than he would have liked. If you're praying person, please send one on our way. Oh, this is extremely sad. I hope everything is alright. There are updates. We discussed GBS and Julian Barre syndrome with a neurologist, and Dr. Bose agreed to rule it out. The reasoning was this was rapidly onset, not gradually. It also started in her hands, arms, and later moved to her legs, feet. GBS generalized over time and in the first phase and then worked upwards. About transverse myelitis, they ruled it out also, but don't remember the reasoning. They are performing a lumbar MRI currently. Their neurologist wanted to get complete picture of everything to help rule things out. He also ordered a lumbar puncture, also known as a spinal tap, to rule out things like diabetes. Apologies for the short update. I only had a few memes to write it out. I will update again as I get more info. I'm sorry about that. I had to Google so many pronunciations of those medical diagnosis. I okay. There's an old Julian-Barre syndrome condition in which the body's immune system attacks the nerves and can cause weakness, numbness, or paralysis. Um, Real comments. How did she hurt herself? I don't really know. She said she was with a patient and heard a pop in her back shoulder and immediately lost strength in her hands and quickly deteriorated after that. Commenter 2. I had thyroid hormones normal, obese tested that too, and nothing stood out. OP responds to multiple comments about possible multiple sclerosis. We'll definitely ask about that, thank you. And commenter 3, she may have also had a stroke, check in the form of an MRI. OP, yeah, we had an MRI done and there were no signs of stroke or anything, so they ruled it out. I appreciate that also. And the commenter 4, apparently pregnancy can cause paralysis in rare cases, but treatable. Hopefully they find something in the labs. So sorry this is happening. Souls and prayers to you both. Update, it was written on October 19, 2025, almost a month later. My wife may never walk again. An update. I posted several weeks ago about my pregnant wife having an accident or whatever to call it while at work. Quick overview. She had felt a pop in her shoulder and lost feeling in her arms and legs and hands. I picked her up from work and on the way to the hospital she lost feeling movement in her legs. Got to the hospital and they did all kinds of tests including MRI, ultrasound, EEG, MG, echocardiogram, EKG, and so many others. They also confirmed baby was good. Update, they decided, wrongly read more below, on functional neurological disorder. They planned on physical therapy being the best course of action. More to the story. They reached out to the inpatient rehab facility near us and they denied us going there. They also reached out to several places for neighboring states, and they all denied us as well. Our next option would be skilled nursing, but our insurance didn't cover that, and it would have cost $2,000 a week and minimum of 3 months at a time. They also told us my insurance was not covering the hospital stay either. Talk about a kick in the nuts. Over the last 7, 8 years, I have made friends with a couple of PTs in the town. I reached out to my neighbor and she works at a different type of facility but has friends that work there. She said she'd reach out and find out more info. I also made friends with the guys that work at another PT facility here in town. He was a groomsman in my wedding, and I was one in his also. I reached out to him to see if he knew anyone that worked at the local IPRF. He was on vacation and his wife, a PT at the hospital, in quotation, was sitting next to him. She said she'd make some calls and let me know, skipping some details in the middle here because they don't matter much. The next day, we get a call saying she was approved for the IPRF, were denied it in the first place. Larry and I were talking, and my friend's wife came over, and neither one knew where she worked. My wife says to Google her, so I did, and come to find out she worked at the IPRF. Not just worked there, but was one of the top doctors there. She was the one that pulled the shrink to get us here. They also say my other friend reached out and thought it was interesting that two different people were trying to pull strings that were not related or associated at all. What a coincidence. We were finally transferred to IPRF after 11 days at the hospital. While there, I spoke to a new neurologist who wanted to order another MRI. It came back a couple of days later. The doctor came in and told us she did not have FND. They said she had a cord stroke. My friend and his wife wrote us dinner that night and she wanted to ask her questions with my hus and said she wanted to transfer us to a better, more specialized facility. We were finally transferred to the spinal rehab facility after 13 days. She is finally being treated for the correct diagnosis and in the correct location. We expect her to be here for the next 2, 3 months. So yeah, my pregnant wife had herself at work, not work related, and went to the hospital. She has no feelings from the chest down. They diagnosed her wrongly with FND, and then she was diagnosed spinal cord stroke. We are at a specialized facility now. We are at 4 weeks with 2, 3 months left. Top comments. Commenter 1, and then she should be able to walk again. Commenter 2, PT here. Potentially, spinal cord strokes in fact are really rare. And I can't speak for the all PSY prognosis, obviously, as I don't know them and I'm not their PT. It can take months or years to regain function, but if it is possible she gets the care she needs and it was caused relatively early, which is a good indicator for a better outcome. Okay, yeah, it's a different for each patient and each is true, but we're hopeful. She's having spasms in her legs and they kick around a little. She can set a touch but can't feel anything else. The doctors are hopeful as well and have stated that if there was a permanent loss, they wouldn't be kicking and spasming like they are. We were at therapy within 2 weeks, so we are hoping that was quick enough to get her back on her feet. OP on not knowing what a spinal cord stroke is prior to his diagnosis. OP, beheading either. Apparently, less than 1% of strokes are spinal cord related. Commenter 3. Well, I'm so glad to hear you guys found the right diagnosis and are getting the treatment needed. I'm so sorry you and especially your wife are going through this and haven't been basically ignored for 2 weeks on your wife's care. Kudos to the shrink puller. They went above and beyond to make sure she's taken care of. Thank you for continuing to push for the proper care for your wife. Often aren't believed with medical problems, especially pregnant women, wishing for a healthy recovery and a healthy baby. And the last commentary that sounds so frightening. The baseline that the baby is fine is one side of relief, but having secure diagnosis and a plan to go forward to help treat it is really a weight off your shoulders. Your wife is in safe hands, but be prepared to be feeling all kinds of shaky yourself at what you too have been going through. Some of the comments on this post as well. Wow, the whole insurance company can get fucked. Denying coverage for pregnant person with sudden paralysis within a hospital is enraging. The fuck else were supposed to do? Steal a dolly from Hope the World and cart her around? Do she dies permanently from underlying condition? I hate it here. And the one in the other commenting, I hate to think what would happen if OP hadn't been personal friends with the right people. Yeah, it's actually, yeah, if he didn't know anyone that could help, what the fuck would have happened? They didn't even have the right diagnosis. Wow. Also, there's another update, update 2. It was posted on November 14, 2025, nearly 1 month later after the last update. Tell Jared at the bottom. So I had several people reaching out, offering advice, a listening ear, or whatever else is needed. I want to address all of you first. Thank you. I truly appreciate all the messages, and unfortunately, also I have read each one. I'm not able to respond to them all. Now, on those updates, she has been in the rehab facility for I think 5 weeks. All the days and dates are blending together. The facility is brand new, opening in August. They have all new state of the art equipment and all the therapists are all very knowledgeable on how to use it. That's part of the good news. The bad news is the nursing staff wasn't as good as we expected and they had to file some complaints. When she called to the facility, not naming a facility for privacy, they did a prick test and she scored 0 on both legs. 2 weeks later, they tested again and she was a 2 on both legs. She could feel her muscle activating and started to move the legs, but then her response would take over. They have been working with her legs and had the OP starting a group sign off on more physical therapy. Now that they have been given this green light, they started more aggressive therapy. They were able to get her to perform sit to stand, and she has been able to stand, assisted, but don't know how much, for a few seconds with therapist. They have her working on a bike, again assisted, but she can't trigger her legs to move fast enough to ride the bike itself. She has been utilizing other therapy techniques, and but I won't bore everyone with details. But she's trying to improve more and more every day. She also noticed this week that she can wiggle her toes. That's such good news. One more that I will share is when she realized they gave her 1 inch cubes and she couldn't pick them up or move them, either to her couldn't get a grip. Earlier this week, she was able to pick up a cube out of one side box and rub it on the water 13 times in 60 seconds. She has also been able to successfully sit up on her own with her head looking up and was pressed down to her chest. Peaches will understand this more. She's still having problems with bladder and bowel, and we believe that will be the very last thing to come back online. They planned to send her home prior to the Thanksgiving holiday, but has since changed it to after. We don't want them to send her home just for the holiday and have pushed for her to stay longer. They agreed and have pushed back the discharge date into December. They have also been working with the OB and baby is still growing and doing well. They didn't want us to come back down to deliver there due to being high risk. The date also states they would expect to have a natural childbirth. That's probably a good enough update for now. I'll update again when I have another substantial update to write about. And there are also posts above, okay? I will not read it. Someone commented, pretty good update considering the virus prognosis at its beginning. Nerve-related injuries take forever to heal, and the level of functionality you retain is pretty random. Another comment, the Holler Crops is terrifying for everyone. Mom, baby, and OP. Hope she continues to progress and the delivery goes well. OP and his wives are both troopers of the highest order. Yeah, I mentioned stressful because you are paralyzed, you are pregnant, and you don't know what to do. And the first times they were like not allowed the treatment. Okay. That's all for the updates for now, I think. Yeah, I think that's all. Maybe I'll update when it's updated later, okay? Anyway, I think that'll be all for today. Thank you, Ladis, for listening to my yapping. And concerning my yapping, I would like also to hear feedback about my voice because I'm very conscious about it. But regardless of that, thank you all. Don't forget to drink some water and have a good day. Bye.